I'll show you what I've done and you can see if you like it or not. It basically removes this chunk from the back end of the bike as supplied by Yamaha. Nothing wrong with it really, a little bit of weight, but hey, we'll get rid of it. Okay, first step to show you what I've done is to remove the seat. I've already removed the 2 bolts, and then as you know the seat just lifts away. Under the seat, I don't know, as I said earlier, if this is the same on other TWs, but on the 225 you have 2 bolts here which I've already loosened, which hold on the rear fairing piece, plastic piece, and would also help hold on the original tail when it was on there. I've made a little bracket here we'll talk about later. That's out of the way for a second. And the rear plastic piece just has 2 push-on rubber mounts there and lifts away. So under here I've made a bracket which I've put across the back here, bracing the 2 ends of the subframe. Originally on the tail it bolted on to 2 points here and then dropped down, and this metal plate bolted across between those. So I've just really replaced this with my own L metal bracket. I don't intend carrying a pillion, but I don't think it would matter much anyhow. This is a welded bracket across at this point which the seat will rest on, so I think that's where the strength is required, and these are the 2 points the seat bolts to. So the seat is supported right across here. So all I've done is put that across there, bolted the number plate directly to it, used 2 little LED lights to light the plate. Had to make little caps to go over those because the angle they shine at was showing some white light to the rear. But popping those on the top, it just gives a little bit of peak over the light to stop any white light showing to the rear, which would fail an MOT here in the UK. I moved the indicators and mounted them to the spot on the frame which previously these brackets were attached to. It turned out to be the same thread size, so they screw straight in. You might need to put a washer on, or different size washer, just so that the thread finally tightens up in the right direction. Now these indicators were on the 225 when I got it. I have no idea if they're original to 225. They certainly are not what normally appears on the 125 or what I've often seen on the 200. So you may have to work that out. But it's a good mounting point for indicators. It brings them slightly forward, but keeps them in view to the rear. I then purchased on great eBay 2 little taillights. Now they're sold as a taillight in their own right, so that they kind of intended to use one of them, probably mounted that way up. But I got 2 of them and mounted them side by side. I felt it looked a little bit better than one, but also gives more light to the rear, and it's sticking with the round theme. These are round indicators, headlight, front indicators, mirrors, kind of where I can it's round. So I just made a little bracket. It's just shaped to suit the shape of the seat as it sits on the tailpiece, and I just leave that out of the way for a second. And then when you put this back on, this just slips on and just pushes onto 2 rubber mounts there and there. Yep, that seems to be correct. And it gets 2 bolts through here, so I just take this, hook it in like that, and line it up with the 2 bolt holes. Very simple DIY. The only thing I purchased for it was the 2 tail lights. A simple cross metal bracket. That simply holds the 2 lights there. Splice the 2 wires in together, connect them into the same connector as was on the original taillight, which did mean I needed to cut off that connector. But I've cut it with enough length left that if I ever want to put it back on, it can go back and the original tailpiece can go on. So that really is simple. I'll give you a walk around, see if you like the look of it. Okay, this is a quick walk around of what it looks like. Obviously those LED tail lights are very bright. The white lights on the number plate, as you can see, you get a bit of reflection off the plate, but it's not actually shining a white light to the rear. That's generally what it looks like, which isn't very different. I just like it, it's a little bit different, and perhaps maybe a touch less practical, as I had a rack on the back previously, as you've seen in other videos. But I'll give it a run. If I don't like it, I can always put the original tail back on and remount the rack, or use a different tail light, because those tail lights are what would stop me mounting the rack now. Thank you.